Hello, my name is Henry Workington. I am chair of MDS Canada. 2020-21 was a hard year for MDS Canada. Once again, the pandemic was the big story. It curtailed most of our responses in the country and prevented Canadians from going to the US to volunteer. But it didn't stop us from doing what we could to help people impacted by disasters. Despite the pandemic, the restrictions it imposed, we still responded to people in need. Let us tell you about a few of those responses.
My name is Nick Ham, and I am the chair of MDS Ontario. It is amazing the opportunities God presents to us, even with COVID. An important issue in Canada is reconciliation with Indigenous people. One way the MDS Ontario unit was able to do that was by helping to renovate the MCC, Indigenous Neighbours Office in Timmins, Ontario. Volunteers from the Markham Waterloo Mennonite Conference, the Matheson Old Order Mennonites, and others from Southern Ontario renovated and upgraded the 100-year-old office building in that Northern Ontario community so it could be used as the base for reconciliation efforts between settler and Indigenous Canadians. The work was complicated by pandemic travel restrictions, but we were able to provide MCC with upgraded office space for their important work. Also in Ontario, we were able to work with Menno Homes, an organization that provides affordable housing in Kitchener, to renovate a derelict house into a home for a Syrian refugee family. Like the MCC office, the work was slowed by pandemic restrictions and lockdowns, but in August, we were able to give a key to the Al-Rudi family of 5 from Syria. Finally, we were also able to help a family with 9 children in Barry's Bay, whose youngest child is disabled. Due to the child's disability since birth, the family has been separated for 3 years, so the mother and child can live in a sterile, temperature-controlled space. We are partnering with the local Knights of Columbus to add a safe addition to their home so the family can be finally united.
My name is Gerald Dick, and I am the unit chair for Mennonite Disaster Service, British Columbia. In a remote part of British Columbia, we learned that you can be off the grid, but not out of God's plan when it comes to rebuilding a house. That's what happened after a fire destroyed the home of Cliff and Lydia Trudeau at Cousson Lake. Rebuilding their house was a challenge since they live off the grid in a remote part of the province. With some creative thinking on the part of volunteers, along with the energetic ingenuity and lots of prayer, the house was completed after 2 months. As Mark Rempel, a member of the BC unit, put it, I never thought I would spend so much time praying for things like getting building permits and concrete delivery. Time and again, it was clear that God was in control, and a way was made for the project to move quickly from start to finish. That is God's work, and God is in control.
My name is Henry Schmidt, and I am chair of MDS Saskatchewan. Amazing is the word West Bank Bible Camp Director Jeff Penner used to describe the service of the MDS volunteers who came to renovate the camp's house and office. They showed up with a servant attitude and posture, always asking what they could do for us, how they could serve us, he said. It was phenomenal. They had such servant hearts. I can concur with Jeff's assessment. The volunteers who renovated the combined office and home for the director and the director's family at the camp, which is supported by the Mennonite Brethren congregations and other churches in southern Saskatchewan, were indeed amazing. For us as a unit, it was a way to support the mission of the camp using the skills God has given us through MDS. Also in Saskatchewan, weather was the big story this year. Drought affected farmers in the province, hitting livestock farmers the hardest. Many don't have enough hay for their animals in the winter. Together with the MDS Ontario unit, we created MDS Hay West, a way for farmers in Ontario who enjoyed good growing weather to send donated hay to Saskatchewan. Best of all, it was a way for farmers in Ontario to say thanks. It was 9 years ago that farmers in Saskatchewan sent hay east to them when drought was bad in that province. As Nick Ham put it, They helped us when we needed it. Now it's our turn to return the favor. For all of us, no matter where we live, it's one way we can help each other in hard times. Thank you.
My name is Benny Penner, the Unit Chair of Atlantic Canada. When a fire destroyed the house of Diane and Reginald Rice in Triton, a fishing community on Newfoundland's northeast coast, the MDS Atlantic Unit wanted to respond. Two challenges were quickly apparent. There are no Mennonite churches in Newfoundland, and pandemic restrictions made travel difficult for volunteers from other parts of Canada. But that wasn't a problem. MDS Canada providing funding for materials, and with support from our Atlantic Canada unit, volunteers in Triton stepped up to rebuild the Rice house. They moved in October. Said Diane about her new home. It was nothing short of a miracle. It never would have happened without MDS. It's just so unreal. I didn't know how to thank MDS. It's amazing how people we don't know came to help us. It's God sent. That's all I know. For MDS Canada, the experience showed once again people don't need to be Mennonites to do service with MDS. They just need to support our values and be willing to pick up a hammer.
My name is Kelsey Friesen, and I'm the volunteer manager at MDS Canada. While the pandemic shut down many of the MDS responses in Canada, churches were still busy responding to COVID-related needs. At MDS in Canada, we decided to support congregations to be the hands and feet of Jesus in their communities by creating the Spirit of MDS Fund. From March 2020 to April 2021, we provided 81 grants worth $206,900. It was so successful, we decided to make it a permanent part of the way we do MDS in Canada. The Spirit of MDS Fund exists to help churches meet needs in their communities and enables us to promote the values and service of MDS. While administering the Spirit of MDS Fund, I'm also busy lining up volunteers to help those affected by fires and floods in BC over this past year. We also are watching the pandemic and how it affects Canadians who want to travel down south to volunteer in the US. The situation seems to change from month to month. We ask for your prayers as we assess the best ways for us to serve in 2022, both in Canada and in the US.
At MDS in Canada, our goal is to use our core values of faith in action and caring relationships to be a witness to God's people for the world. We join the rest of the MDS family in praying for God's continued blessing on MDS and our work together.